Coming up.
At least it begins with a question.
My door is fogging.
You were that relaxed.
Ice cubes.
But I love romance novels.
You coloured it a lot.
I did. I added a phrase, and I don't know where that came from.
How do you say that?
Now he'll do something fancy with it.
Moved up from penge.
Penge!
Penge?
We love penge.
IE is not a thing that should ever be read out loud.
In this instance, the punctuation is extremely useful.
Doing a cold read of this is almost impossible.
Absolutely. I certainly give people choices.
Oh, I liked that.
Looks and sounds ridiculous.
Lovely crowd work.
And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
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 Hello and welcome to How Do You Say That, the podcast that's sponsored by BritishVoiceover.co.uk. I'm Samantha Boffin and I have a co-host, Mark Rice.
Hello. Well, every week we invite a voice actor into the studio and they bring one of their scripts and we bring one of our scripts and we find out, well, what do we find out, Sam?
Well, we find out that there isn't just one way to read a script, there are lots of different ways.
Yes.
So, Mark, my current obsession this week is electrolyte drinks.
Does that keep your hydration up? What does that do?
Well, yes, actually. It keeps your hydration up, A,
Yes.
because they're a bit more exciting than water to drink, but also they give you the right kind of electrolytes for you to absorb more water in and of itself to make it more useful for you.
How exciting. So that
I
you're
know.
always hydrated when you're in front of the
Who
mic. Brilliant
bloody
stuff.
knew? Exactly.
Well, my current obsession is
Yes.
Pyrenees. The anti-allergy stuff that you shove up your nose, and I am
Oh,
finding
God.
it wonderful because, do you know what? The hay fever has been bad.
Everybody is saying this. The hay
Yeah.
fever lobbyists are saying it's much worse this year than it has been.
It really is, because I don't
Yeah.
normally suffer, so I'm quite enjoying
yeah.
it. Well, let's
Oh,
welcome
good.
our special guest along, shall we? Voice actor Magnus Rook. Hello, Magnus. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Sam, let's find out a little bit more about Magnus, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. So Magnus is a German actor and voice actor based in London. 98% of his work is in German, but he is branching out more into the English language market these days. He is an audiobook narrator with the occasional commercial thrown in, which, to me, that is the best of both worlds.
Yeah, fair. When he's not in the booth, he's bouldering, reading, and appearing on stage once in a while. Most recently as Hamlet's dead father and as part of Fracassante's collective, I hope I've said that right, at the Bush Theatre. So welcome along to the podcast, Magnus. Do you have a fun fact for us?
My fun fact is that when I first moved to London, I was hit by a bus and I used the money that the insurance paid me to pay off most of my student debt.
Hit by a bus. Did that leave any lasting damage for you? That must
Yeah,
have been
I had a little
terrifying.
scar on my chin. It's
Wow.
it's still visible, actually.
I bet.
It was a very slow crash. We were the only two people on the road. My favorite thing about it still is that she stepped out of the bus and was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hit you." And she wore a white shirt with pink glitter lettering saying, "You're doing great."
I love it. I love it. And to mix my metaphors, I'm going to say never look a gift bus in the mouth.
What's a gift bus?
Let's have a look at the first script of our show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that?
Okay, Sam, what have you brought us this week then?
I have brought you a lovely little script from a charity that I do a lot of work for.
Okay. And this is about volunteering.
Yes.
What kind of video are we looking at? Are we looking at what they do? Are we looking at animation? I mean, what kind of... Give me a little bit more about the video.
Well, it's animation, but not animated people, as it were, not animated characters. So there are some, actually, it's a mixture. There are some, real things happening in that. And there are some, graphic bits to it as well.
Graphic elements, okay.
Graphic
and
elements, that's
I'm
the
assuming this is you as narrator.
Yes.
Do you have the background music, if there is background music?
Oh, good thought. Actually, I didn't have any background music for this one. Having said that, I have worked for this particular charity for about 6 years. So I know them fairly well.
So you know their sound, their sort of vibe.
Yes, yeah, I know the kind of style that they want, absolutely.
They come to you because they trust you and they know you and they like your sound.
They do, but in 6 years, things have changed.
Things do change. Yes,
Things
they do.
change
Yes,
and
they
change
do.
sometimes quite rapidly. So, the styles that I do for them has not remained fixed.
Does this come under the quote-unquote conversational banner?
I would suggest that the very first sentence gives that away.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a conversationally.
Yes.
You know,
I guess
written
whenever
piece.
you see in a script, did you know that?
Yeah.
You're definitely talking to someone and you're laying out a premise,
Yeah.
aren't you? Yeah.
So I think that, you could make a fairly good stab at thinking, this is less corporate, more conversational.
Okay. Quirky, not quirky?
No, not particularly quirky. No, the people that they're talking to within this organisation are quite conservative with a small c.
Right then, I'll give it a go. Let's see. Okay, conversational, not too quirky. Here we go. Did you know that everyone on the planet is just 6 social connections away from each other? Community-based volunteers are the social glue between individuals, groups and organisations. They boost community cohesion, bond people together and bridge differences. Within any community, 20% of people are great at getting things done. Volunteers are ordinary people, but they can achieve extraordinary things. Their super talents are simple: practical skills, local knowledge, common sense, familiarity with different situations, a myriad of contacts, and of course the ability to discover the stories and traditions that make a community special.
Ooh. Oh, I liked that.
Yes.
It was definitely very conversational, in my opinion. I feel like it would fit right for a podcast like this, for example. It was quite lively, and I enjoyed that. I like when there's, just a little bit of sound texture thrown at me, if you know what I mean.
I think that Sam's going to say I went a bit quick.
No, that wasn't what I was concentrating on, actually, interestingly. You coloured it a lot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, this may be you added something.
I did.
which
I
thought was
added a phrase, and I don't know where that came
You
from.
were that relaxed by the time, man.
Yeah. I added an of course.
That last list, you skimmed over it as if nobody gave a fuck, quite
Yes.
frankly. Now, this, and this. Who gives a
Yes.
shit about that? This is what we want to hear about.
Yeah.
And I felt that might have felt a little bit too throwaway, as if these things don't even
Yes.
matter.
What I had in my brain was that
Yeah.
those words would appear on the screen. I don't know whether that's the case, but that's what I was kind of thinking. So I could skim through them because they would appear on the
Yeah.
screen as well. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess if they all appeared and didn't go away, as they all appeared and added to each other, that
Yeah.
might have worked, because that was quick as well then. It felt very personable and very friendly and very, the kind of person that you'd like to listen to.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm pleased about that. That's always nice. Magnus, would you like
Yes.
a go? Let's see what you pick up from that
Absolutely.
and see what you do with it.
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna try something else. Obviously.
Yeah, why not?
Did you know that everyone on the planet is just 6 social connections away from each other? Community-based volunteers are the social glue between individuals, groups, and organizations. They boost community cohesion, bond people together, and bridge differences. Within any community, 20% of people are great at getting things done. Volunteers are ordinary people, but they can achieve extraordinary things. Their super talents are simple: practical skills, local knowledge, common sense, familiarity with different situations, a myriad of contacts, and the ability to discover the stories and traditions that make a community special.
I rather
That
liked
was
that.
so different. Absolutely. That felt really inspirational.
Yeah,
But I tell you what I thought. When you got to
Yeah.
volunteers are ordinary people, they can achieve extraordinary things. We almost strayed into movie trailer territory. And I think you were doing that deliberately. It was low. It was like it would. But if you imagine the movie trailers of volunteers are ordinary people, but they can achieve extraordinary things. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's quite a clever way of doing that.
in a world where volunteers are ordinary
Totally.
people.
Yes.
Actually, it felt non-sensationalist in that sort of sense. It felt quite intimate
Until that
and
point.
grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when I record on my own, self-directed, I really go, I would do a recording of the whole thing, but then I pretty much go sentence by sentence, and I definitely would re-record that specific one.
Hang on, you're saying you give yourself twice the amount of work?
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
I'm just like, oh, but I could do this, like, just this tiny little bit better in this one sentence and yada, yada, yada.
I sometimes do that.
Do
I
you
certainly
do
give
that?
people... Absolutely. I certainly give people choices.
But what Magnus was saying was, I'll go line by line.
Yeah.
I'll do 2 full passes in maybe slightly different styles and send it to someone and get them to choose.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I would agonise over every individual part.
Oh, no, I see what you mean. No, I probably wouldn't do that. But what I do, certainly with new people and with pieces that could be done a number of different ways,
Yeah.
I do often do the first 2 minutes 3 different ways and send it to them. And
Yeah,
say
so
which
if
is
it's a
the one
longer
that's-
piece, yeah.
Which is
so
the one that's, floating your boat. And then at least there are fewer pickups then.
Oh, agreed.
at the
Absolutely.
end.
Very much so. And if you've
Yeah.
got a longer piece, that's a really sensible thing to do
Yeah.
because it puts the client right in there. If it's not a directed session, it gives you something to go on at least, doesn't it? Because there's nothing worse than sending an audition off and you send 3 different styles and they come back going, yes, you're booked. It's like, well, which one did you like?
Yeah.
And they never say, do they? They never say.
Yeah.
They don't really think to ask. So you have to ask, but yes.
Oh, someone's got ice in a glass. That sounded amazing.
Oh, sorry, I'm just going
Oh, no, I like it.
Nice.
Make
I'm
some
wishing
cool
I had ice in a
thoughts.
glass right now. Sam, let's see what you did with it, shall we?
Okay. Did you know that everyone on the planet is just 6 social connections away from each other? Community-based volunteers are the social glue between individuals, groups and organisations. They boost community cohesion, bond people together and bridge differences. Within any community, 20% of people are great at getting things done. Volunteers are ordinary people, but they can achieve extraordinary things. Their super talents are simple: practical skills, local knowledge, common sense, familiarity with different situations, a myriad of contacts, and the ability to discover the stories and traditions that make a community special.
Well, it makes total sense that you've been doing this for 6 years with, this specific organization, because I was just, this feels so assured in what it's trying to say. There was just no question. I was like, yeah, sure.
I feel there's a but with Mark, though.
No, the thing I noticed was something that neither Magnus nor I did. Boost community, bond people, bridge differences. The 3 Bs. And I hadn't actually spotted that in the script. And you brought those out.
Well,
but
you did.
I
You
hadn't-
really lent into
Oh,
them.
okay.
Listen
I hadn't
back.
noticed that they were the 3 Bs necessarily. Okay.
Yeah.
But I thought your list of things, whilst it was very measured, every single thing on the list had a slightly different direction it was going in. And I liked that
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a build either. So sometimes we build
No.
a list, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But with a longish list like that, and there were sort of 6 things, I think. Well, 6 things and a 7, which is
Yes.
the payoff. It's quite nice to vary that a little bit.
Play How Do You Say That?
These are real scripts we're working on. Some names, some details have been changed to avoid copyright issues, but you can find both of the scripts we're using today in the show notes of the episode.
Yes, and now we're coming on to the second of these scripts. Things are not quite as easy as I gave you. So, Magnus, tell us a little bit.
It's like, what on earth have you brought?
Yeah. So I brought a script from a book that I recently narrated, a large chunk of, called Why We Talk Funny. And it's a linguistics book, but like popular science, so
Yes.
quite readable.
So perfect for our audience then.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you would love
Nice.
it.
And perfect for the idea of this podcast, I feel.
Yes,
too.
quite.
It's really-
Yeah, that's why I was like, this fits
Well
so
chosen.
well. I'm not going to bring you a romance novel.
But I love romance novels.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There are a few things in the script that I am intrigued by.
Yes, me too.
And the first thing I would say is the very first bracketed R.
So the interjection, I kind of tried to find the perfect middle between literally just reading out the word "ah" and actually having a the way that you would say it in a
Yes.
absolutely naturalistic,
Yes, okay.
I just stubbed my toe or whatever it is way.
Ah.
And what about IE? It's the thing I hate in a script the
Yeah.
most. IE.
Really?
Yes, I don't mind for example, but IE is not a thing that should ever be read out loud.
Really?
Yeah.
God,
No, never.
that just wouldn't have occurred to me. Why?
It's like EG. You'd never read out EG. You'd say, for example.
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
Read EG.
Oof.
Still what it says on the script, love.
Well, I would probably go back to them and say, rather than EG because it looks and sounds ridiculous, do you think we ought to say, for example?
Wow.
I think that's fair. It gives you an option.
I don't. I think he's talking bollocks.
No, no.
I can tell you how the producer of this, and he was like, and for this, we say that is. And I was like, okay, you say that in such a way that you just made me believe it.
Well, okay. So he subs out that is for IE.
Yes.
I find that more problematic. But I do you want us
I think
to do
I find that more problematic.
I can do that.
Well, I'm glad you're going first, Sam. I'm putting it that way.
I bet you
Just
are.
putting that
Yeah,
out
okay.
there.
So, okay.
The whole chapter is called Don't Be a Ding Dong, and it is talking about different hypotheses, different theories on how language came to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, let's have a little go. Okay. The seminal example, of course, is using bow wow to mean a dog, and not just to imitate a dog's barking, providing the impetus for the theory's moniker. In a somewhat similar vein, the poo-poo theory hypothesized that language evolved from the interjections "ah" and emotional cries humans made, like the primordial grunt that still escapes when you painfully stub your toe. Muller's own idea was that sounds themselves carried intrinsic meaning, like a low-pitched sound giving off a sense of something big, that is, as in a blob, low vowel, compared to the smaller sounding bleep, high vowel.
I'm just going to applaud. Wow.
That was
well,
good, though, wasn't it?
Yes.
I thought that was very good.
I mean, the very obviously difficult thing about this, I think, is to actually just transport the meaning of the text.
Yeah.
Because it's a complicated text and it's long sentences and it's not immediately... Doing a cold read of this is almost impossible, I would say. Like, you have to know what's about to come in order to structure the delivery of it.
Sure.
And I think you did that wonderfully.
I think going slow allows you as the reader, as the narrator, it gives you time to think about what is coming up. Because, of course, you're still reading in advance.
Yes.
But you're going slowly enough for your brain to go, oh, I see, we've got that bit about the blob and the low vowel coming up now.
But actually, at that pace, you're also allowing the listener to take it in much more easily as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that this is one of the reasons I like going slow, actually, is simply because
Yes.
it allows me to understand what I'm saying, what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
why it terrifies me. Those really fast reads that you actually love, Mark.
Yes.
The reason I'm not keen on them is simply because it goes too fast for my brain, my
Yeah,
little brain,
interesting.
to make sense of them.
That's why I like Sam going first, because I've listened to it and I've understood it.
Great. But that's the thing, because it was very understandable when
It
Sam
was,
did it.
absolutely. Yes, and I have a much clearer idea of what I'm doing now.
Now he'll do something fancy with it. And
Yeah,
he'll
yeah,
go,
but of course,
"Oh."
if you just get a script landing in your inbox, you don't get that. You don't get the option of someone else reading it first. So, you've done all the heavy lifting there, Sam, and I am going to take the heavy lifting and run with it, I think. Let's see. The seminal example, of course, is using bow wow to mean a dog, and not just to imitate a dog's barking, providing the impetus for the theory's moniker. In a somewhat similar vein, the poo-poo theory hypothesized that language evolved from the interjections. And emotional cries that humans made, like the primordial grunt that still escapes when you painfully stub your toe. Muller's own idea was that sounds themselves carried intrinsic meaning, like a low-pitched sound giving off a sense of something big, for example, as in a blob, low vowel, compared to the smaller sounding bleep, high vowel.
It was a little bit faster. I like the little sound effects that you make on the I think this worked wonderfully. It was maybe I'm wrong, but it was quite close in my mind also to Sam's performance. But I think the reason for that might just be that the text is kind of so back and forth and like all around that there's hardly two ways of reading it without making it less understandable.
You make a good point, because there is, in this instance, the punctuation is extremely useful.
Yes.
So
yes.
It is useful to follow it. So yeah, you're right. To a certain extent, if people follow the punctuation on this particular piece, it's going to be, it's going to be very useful for them. Yeah.
Magnus, I'm really interested to hear what you actually did do with it.
Right. So I'm just going to give it a go and try to recreate what I did when I did this one. The seminal example, of course, is using bow wow to mean a dog, and not just to imitate a dog's barking, providing the impetus for the theory's moniker. In a somewhat similar vein, the poo-poo theory hypothesized that language evolved from the interjections, and emotional cries humans made, like the primordial grunt that still escapes when you painfully stub your toe. Müller's own idea was that sounds themselves carried intrinsic meaning, like a low-pitched sound giving off a sense of something big, that is, as in a blob, low vowel, compared to the smaller-sounding bleep, high vowel.
Oh, you put so much meaning into that, and you even coloured the primordial grunt.
Grunts, yeah, absolutely.
You put so much personality into that. I really enjoyed it, and I have to say that I think that it sounds so much fun in your accent. I loved it. I really loved it.
I was a bit thrown by the accent because I wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting, because you hadn't mentioned that in any way. So they were after an international English read of this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so this book had a weirdly ambitious vision, I guess, behind it, which was that every chapter was supposed to be read by a speaker of a different accent. And so they were looking for a German accent for this one, which is why they cast me.
I think it worked so well with certain words, particularly the first bit, because it's got a quite a clipped sort of sound. I mean, I'm a big fan of Henning Wayne, so I was like, yes, we've got some lovely, and you really relished the language, I think.
I thought that was really interesting, but it made me listen more. And I think from a producer point of view, I think that's a really clever way of looking at it.
Yeah, and also a clever way of approaching a book.
I was so happy to be able to break out my German accent, but it was also so interesting to me, like these questions of, well, what is an authentic accent? Because obviously in my everyday language, I do not speak with this accent.
Well, which is why it kind of threw me. I loved it, but it kind of threw me. Well, guys, it's time to do these scripts in a slightly different way because we're heading towards the wildcard bit of the show. So we're going to approach these scripts in a different way now.
Yes, absolutely. So, Magnus, choose one of these scripts and get one of us to do it in a slightly different way. Or an entirely different way.
Or an entirely different way.
Right. I would like to hear the script number 1 read as, like that scene in it, because you wanted a romance novel, right?
Oh,
that
you want
scene? Yeah, the kind of imagining two people lying under the stars on their backs, looking up into the sky.
As a conversation.
Just having a conversation, one speaking to the other about their deepest feelings.
Okay.
It's more different from Mark's read than from yours. Not that any of the two of you did it in that specific way or close to it, but it's even more different from Mark's read that I would like to hear it from Mark.
I think that comes under be careful what you wish for, Sam.
This is going to be cool. So have you got to be two different people talking to each other? Is that script number 1?
Yeah. Script number... I mean, it's because it lends itself so well.
At least it begins with a question.
Yeah.
And about planets, and they're looking at the stars.
Oh. Absolutely.
All right. Okay, I'll give it a try.
Right.
I'm quite jealous, actually. I think that's quite a nice one.
Hey, did you know that everyone on the planet is just 6 social connections away from each other. Community-based volunteers are the social glue between individuals, groups and organisations. Yeah, they boost community cohesion and bond people together and bridge differences. Within any community, 20% of people are great at getting things done. The volunteers are ordinary people, but they can achieve extraordinary things. Yeah, their super talents are simple. Practical skills, local knowledge, common sense, familiarity with different situations, a myriad of contacts, and the ability to discover the stories and traditions that make a community special.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's hot in my booth anyway, but wow,
Yeah.
it's hotter
Wow.
now.
It just got a lot hotter. Yeah.
I have to say, I loved that. I'm not sure those two people would ever get it on, though, would they? There was this lovely wondering one. Did you know that?
Did you know the other was
community-based
yes, exactly. Yeah,
volunteers.
quite. I thought that they might sound too similar. Otherwise, I had to draw a line, and it's like, oh, interesting.
Magnus,
okay.
was it everything you hoped for?
Oh my God! Everything I hoped for and more.
Course.
I did not understand from before you started that you were gonna go for like actually 2 different characters talking to each other, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, that was Sam's extra little bit that she threw in there for me.
Yeah.
I like
Wow.
saying anything.
Right, okay. Sam, you choose one for Magnus.
Okay.
Yes. I would like you to do your script like a politician who's avoiding the real question.
Oh.
Oh God. The seminal example, of course, is using bow wow to mean dog, not just to imitate a dog's barking, providing the impetus for the theory's moniker. In a somewhat similar vein, the poo-poo theory hypothesized that language evolved from the interjections, and emotional cries humans made, like the primordial grunt that still escapes when you painfully stub your toe. Müller's own idea was that sounds themselves carried intrinsic meaning, like a low-pitched sound giving off a sense of something big, that is as in blob, low vowel, compared to the smaller sounding bleep, high vowel.
Avoiding that question by
yes, I think,
spouting
yes.
ideas. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Making it up
Interesting.
as you were going along, weren't you?
Just, nothing has any meaning.
All right, Sam, I've got to give one for you. How about you're a stand-up comic in a comedy club. The audience is not entirely on your side,
Okay.
but you know the
Okay.
material you've got is funny. I'm going to give you script 1 for that.
Okay.
Partly because it begins with a question and that might help. I don't know.
All right. I will just, God, what kind of person would I be if I was a stand-up comic? Terrifying. Okay. Did you know that everyone on the planet is just 6 social connections away from each other? Yep. Community-based volunteers are the social glue between individuals, groups and organisations. Okay, they boost community cohesion, they bond people together and they bridge differences. Okay, well, look, within any community, 20% of people are great at getting things done like you, sir. Volunteers are ordinary people, but they can achieve extraordinary things like those glasses. So their super talents are simple. Practical skills? Yes. Local knowledge? Yes. Common sense? Familiarity with different situations and a myriad of contacts and the ability to discover the stories and traditions that make a community like this special.
For funnier trifles. It's like
Lovely crowd work.
she knew she'd lost the crowd and was desperately trying to get them back.
Yes, well, there we have it.
It was actually very funny, which...
Well, it was funnier that way. Yeah,
Because you
absolutely.
can feel my pain.
The desperation coming through.
Yes.
Well, if you want to have a look at that desperation and play along in the privacy of your own booth, as we've said before, we put the scripts in the show notes, you can have a try yourself.
So, Magnus, a lot of voice actors I know worry that running their voiceover careers can be all-consuming, and when you talk to them, they are literally entirely consumed by voiceover ideas, voiceover careers, this kind of thing. But you do a lot of stuff that isn't voiceover related. Why is that important for you?
I used to always think, growing up and in my younger days, that it was so important to just focus on one thing and do that the best that you can. But it actually, I think for me, turned out that I get so much from not just living for my career.
Yeah.
My first bigger voiceover job, I would say, and I did that job after I had just come from 2 hours at the climbing gym, which usually is not what I would have done. I would have been okay, I'm at home, I'm warming up, I'm doing my lip rolls, and somehow it just gave me this liberty, I think, of being freer in what I wanted to do, and just being freer to receive direction.
But what are you saying? Are you saying that hobbies are important, that time away from it is important because it brings something else, or it puts you in a different headspace if you've just done something else?
Both, I would say. And I think it's important that it's not just a hobby, doing something completely different, I guess. Yeah. That is, whether that is, long distance running, or whether that is fly fishing. It doesn't really matter, but something that also feels important, or at least as important to you as your voiceover or your voice acting career.
Yes.
I mean, it may be such a platitude, but I need to remind myself quite often of that because, well, it can be all-consuming. And it can be I can always work on my job, obviously, because we're all, most of us are freelancers. I certainly am.
I was going to say, exercise is presumably a completely different side of your brain, as it were.
Also, I do quite a bit of theatre work, which obviously there is a connection to voice-over work because, you're using your voice in both instances. You're thinking about entirely different things, I think.
Yes.
Well, or at least I do when I play a ghost on a stage. How do I move my limbs? Why does this character even exist? Why isn't he just dead? Which is different from the thoughts that I usually have when I record a voiceover.
Magnus, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Magnus. It was absolutely lovely talking
It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. A reminder that all of Magnus Rook's details can be found in the show notes of the episode.
Yes, and of course, all the scripts are there too. And if you want to see what we all look like in our booths, do check out the podcast by searching at HDYST Podcast on TikTok and Instagram, and you can see us in action.
Indeed you can. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks again to Magnus Rook. We'll be back next week with more scripts and, of course, another voiceover guest, where we'll be asking,
How do you say that? How do you say that?